good to go? Before today's men's semi-finals between Alexander Zverev and Novak Djokovic, we have a very special presentation. Would you please make welcome Chief of Events for Tennis Australia, Stephen Farrow.
The Australian Open ball kids are an integral part of the success of our tournament and an iconic component of the AO. The squad is made up of 428 ball kids who were selected from over 2,500 applicants, and this year have come from all over Victoria, Australia and the world to be part of one of the world's biggest sporting events. It gives me great pleasure to announce the top ball girl for the Australian Open 2025 goes to Adele Cain. And the top ball boy for the Australian Open 2025 goes to Will Cartwright.
We'll now invite them to step forward and take a photo with Stephen. And while they're there, would you please put your hands together and congratulate one more time our top ball boy and our top ball girl for 2025, Adele and Will. They do an amazing job over the tournament and it's really wonderful to recognise their efforts.
He's one of the best movers this sport has ever seen.
The 50th Grand Slam semi-final for Novak.
Zverev back in the semi-finals of the Australian Open for a third time. Is this the year to win his maiden major?
Ben Shelton making American tennis great again. He is through to the semi-finals in Australia. Sensational from Sinner.
A second semi-final here in Australia for the defending champion.
Men's singles semi-finals action. Please welcome to Rod Laver Arena from Germany, Alexander Zverev. Their opponent this afternoon. Please welcome 10-time Australian Open champion from Serbia, Novak Djokovic.
Welcome to Melbourne, welcome to a warm day, but even that announcement itself gives you goosebumps. It is a massive Friday here at the Australian Open. A big day for this man, potentially to get through to his first Australian Open final. This one, well, everything's been said. Every superlative has been added to a resume that is simply untouchable. Looking for a record-extending 11th final here. He's only ever lost once at this stage to Jannik Sinner last year. He brings in a perfect 3-0 record against Zverev at Grand Slams.
Novak, Hayden, Novak. Gentlemen, before we start, can we have a photo with Hayden here, facing this way? Thank you. Same format as your previous matches. Any preference on towel box, red or blue? We go blue, red. Makes sense, doesn't it? Any other questions? No? Okay, Hayden, we've got AO or John Newcomb. Anyone to call? AO. AO scored. Fantastic. AO. Receive? Receive? Okay, great. Have a great match. 4 white towels, sure.
Every superlative applies, everyone exhausted for Novak in terms of his incredible year. And Sasha, like a whole list of great players, will be out here having to pay the reputation tax alongside the physical one as this match gets underway. Just want to ask Brad Stein, who's going to be commentating alongside me as we take a look at Sasha here. What will be the key thing for the German to do?
Well, obviously it's a tough call when you're here, and you're basically on Novak Djokovic's court here. So I think the psychological aspect of it is a key to start with, and I think that starts with the fact that it's a Grand Slam in 3 out of 5 sets. Sasha's had decent consistency and results against him at the 2 out of 3 level where his wins have come, but it's tougher here at the 3 out of 5 set level, and maintaining his concentration, his focus, and his intensity, being able to execute at the highest level against Novak for the course of a 3 out of 5 set match is a test for anyone. And Sasha's going to have to play to his best level to be able to compete with Novak on this court.
Gui Martinez, Fernie Humbert, and of course your man Tommy Paul, who could have snatched the opening couple of sets against Zverev in the quarterfinals, unfortunately couldn't, were the path through for Zverev this year. 10-time champion, has never lost when he's got to the championship match in Melbourne. Novak. And just a quick word as we take a little look through his route. Ready in the opening round in 4 sets. Faria was the only other day match that he had actually played, Brad. How much of a factor may be that? He played Mahech, Lehechka and Alcaraz at night.
Yeah, I think it's small today. It's not hot. You know, we're used to being here in Australia in the summer where it's sweltering at times, but we can see the sun's out. It's a beautiful day. Temperature is not bad. It's actually pretty ideal conditions here, so I don't think it's really much of a factor for him.
Just a word on just how incredible it is that this would be and is his 50th semi-final at a Grand Slam.
I mean, it's, as you said, Petch, it's almost beyond words. All superlatives have been used. It's a testament to his longevity as a player. It's a testament to his incredible level as a player. To be able to throw those kind of numbers around when you're talking about Grand Slam tennis. And it's part of the psychology and the advantage that he brings into these kind of matches against virtually everybody.
Just touching on that time on court that you just saw on that graphic, obviously 12 hours and 1 minute for Sasha. This time last year, before the epic clash against Medvedev, he'd actually been on court for close to 17 hours. He does come in a little fresh as Zverev, of course. He produced heroics at the United Cup in Sydney. He was on court for almost 24 hours of match play throughout that particular competition, winning it for Germany last year. So the engine is definitely primed for a potential 4 5 hours out here. And Novak had played a little bit more tennis before he took on Jannik Sinner last year. Can't argue with that particular sign. Andy Murray, of course, looking after Novak. You just saw him there. Charlie Gomez also just to the left of Andy, also coaching Novak. Somebody he works out with when he's down in Marbella.
30 seconds.
Change of racket for Sasha seems to have improved things off the ground in terms of pace for the German, something that he needed to improve.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Zverev won the toss.
Or maybe he didn't.
Elected to receive.
I think that when you look at Sasha and his game, I mean, the backhand's always been great. Did he really need to improve the backhand a lot? Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, the forehand pace, consistency, how he produces the swing, I think, has improved over the last year or so. And I think that that's the biggest factor if you look at areas that he's improved in. The forehand's gotten better. It used to be someplace that you could kind of pick on and have some confidence that you could get some free points from. At times, it still does, but in general, it's a much more consistent stroke that he can have a lot more confidence in.
And just quickly before we get underway, I think Josh Eagle has made his way down courtside. Josh, it looks like absolutely perfect conditions, as Brad was saying.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better, guys. Very good afternoon to you all, and what is an incredible feel courtside here. It's got that big match written all over it. Novak Djokovic, the thigh is heavily strapped, as you will see. But I'm sure we'll find out pretty early on in this match how he's feeling. Alexander Zverev, as you've mentioned, has come in with a little bit better schedule in terms of match time on court. But the conditions are absolutely perfect. It's lively. The court is pretty warm. So conditions at this time of the day will be extremely lively. So I can't wait for this one, guys. It should be an absolute beauty.
Delighted to have you alongside, Josh, for this encounter.
Ready for play. First sets. Novak Djokovic.
As ever at this stage of a big tournament.
Ready.
Heartbreak and history on the line.
Play.
Out.
Pretty good start there for Sasha.
Love
Stepped up and took that ball well.
Let's for service.
I think that point's a perfect example of what we're going to see a lot of today. Novak there targeting the forehand a little bit early. Kind of an offside backhand to find Sasha's forehand there.
Out.
Classic Novak, that forehand there, sorry, down the line, doing the damage to start with. You don't often see Sasha get pushed to a needed slice backhand. Had to slice that one, just not quite enough penetration. Gave Novak time to set up and finish him with the inside in.
Out.
One of the big differences, of course, for Sasha is that quick second serve that we've seen Novak build a lot of his success around post sort of 35 years of age. Not something that he's had to deal with in this tournament. Sasha's actually moved up a couple of meters closer to the baseline for second serve returns here at the Australian Open compared to last year. I would expect he's going to stay a little deeper to try and give himself a bit more time. Obviously, the leg became a bit of a talking point against Alcaraz. It wasn't really an issue in sets 3 and 4 for Djokovic. We're not entirely sure what he's been doing for the last couple of days. He did have a practice book yesterday, but he cancelled. He could have potentially hit somewhere else, but he is another one of those players that has been known to not practice on his days off when he doesn't need to. But is it having a little bit of an effect on the first serve? Because he's yet to make one. And from both. I mean, how Novak has made that first shot off the net court, I simply don't know. And then Sasha with the response that surely against 99% of the world's population would have won the point, but didn't.
Around the post here.
Yeah.
He went perfectly around the post. And Novak covered that. Just talking about the strapping on the leg, maybe affecting the serve. It certainly didn't affect the movement to that ball that came off the tape. Unbelievable get right here from Novak, and then the control with the racket.
As quick as you can, please.
Astonishing.
Alexander Zverev to serve. Let's for service.
Serve and return, always such key elements to men's tennis. Petch, it's interesting, as you mentioned, you know, with the wrapping on the leg, it's on his left leg. That's the leg that usually drive and push a little bit more with. You see Sasha drop some much bigger serves here. But also in that last game, I think something to pay attention to, Novak's second serve speed was way down. Last couple serves, 138 and then 130.
One thing's for sure, he's come out hitting the ball sweet. May not be serving quite as big, but the ball striking, the discipline here from Novak, it looks clean early on, and I'm sure he's going to try and make Sasha Zverev play a lot of balls, try and get a lot of these big serves back, and just try and go back in behind the German, try and get him off balance.
Sometimes get a little seduced by speed and the impact that it has. Sasha with considerably higher numbers on his first serve than the rest of the 3 semi-finalists, but he has the lowest number of unreturned serves.
13-15.
That one, however, didn't come back. That is his 60th ace of the championships.
It's interesting with Sasha. He's, for a guy who's his height, serves at the pace that he does, on first serve particularly, second serve to some degree, but first serve particularly, his numbers, his percentages are always extremely high. Great shot making there from Sasha. But one of the things I was going to say is that when he went through that period where he really struggled with the double faulting and basically had the yips on his second serve, and obviously wanted to start making a lot more first serves so that he didn't have to hit second serves. I think as big as his serve is, he tends to aim to a little bit bigger targets in the court. He doesn't serve right to the lines a lot of the time. And so I think that's a translation to more returns in play from the other guys.
Zverev.
Comfortable hold for the 27-year-old.
1 game on.
Yeah, I was going to say, we kind of marvel at his 70% plus first serves in, but there's an argument to say that maybe at 65% he's going to be better off because he is going for a more accurate target.
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's always from a stat standpoint and the eye test when you're watching the matches, there's a trade-off there between percentage of points won versus percentage of serves in the court. I mean, obviously, you can come out and make an extremely high percentage of serves in the court with not a lot of pace, but they're always going to come back. And with his pace and how good a server he is, you would think that he might want to aim a little bit smaller.
Plenty of intent around that forehand for Zverev in this tournament. We've talked a little bit about the new racket that he changed at the back end of the season. We'll get Josh to talk through that, but it's got a slightly wider beam.
Let's for service.
Saw him coming. Gorgeous strike off the two-hander. And Josh, what has it given him, this racket?
Well, he was looking for more power, obviously, with where the game is moving forward to, but it also gives him, they feel that it gives him more width as well, so he can create more angle with pace. So it's 2 millimeters thicker than his old frame and a softer composition. So the softer composition with more flex gives that the easy power. So it shouldn't feel dramatically different, but the numbers are certainly looking different. But I love that, you know, he's number 2 in the world, and for me, he's the best player not to have won a Grand Slam, certainly in the last 20 years in men's tennis, and he's played at a difficult time. So I love that he's looking to find improvements, even though he's number 2 in the world.
Hadn't made a first serve until the last couple of points, trailing love 30. Little surprised that Sasha gets beaten to his forehand side. Got a feel as though Djokovic's going to target that wing on these big points. Not all the time, but the majority. Got away with a very ordinary return there, Zverev.
30-14. Juice.
Both guys with a couple of very simple rally ball unforced errors in the last couple of points. Maybe a little bit of nerves still early on here. Backhand error from Novak was not the kind of thing you expect from him, and that forehand right there from Sasha just looked a little bit tentative.
Advantage, Zverev.
So much of tennis in general, even at this level, is managing errors. The game is still based so much on who gives away more unforced errors. As great as these guys are, it still comes down to that so often. Goodness gracious.
Juice. Thank you. Please.
He's just paying off the reputation tax at the moment, isn't he?
Advantage.
Wouldn't have missed that backhand against too many opponents in the past. He manages to recover the opportunity to get the first break in this opening set. A couple of quality strikes off the double-hander from the German.
If you're Sasha, do you sit on a forehand here? He's served every first serve, even the ones he's missed, to the forehand side here on the last 4 points on the ad side. And then throws in the changeup. That's where it's so tough as a returner.
Juice.
Maybe just looking for a little bigger target there to make a first serve. First serve percentage has not been good. Novak at 25% right now.
Oh.
That is special.
Great feel there from Sasha coming forward. Came in a little bit on a
Zverev.
pair of threes right here. Right through the middle of the court. That one, he such good feel to get that up and down and keep it in front of Novak there. It was interesting also on that second serve return, Sasha standing outside the singles alley. No one serves more to the forehand on second serves than Novak Djokovic.
Wow. I'll tell you one thing. He has just signposted the fact that he's not feeling his forehand.
I mean, it's amazing. It's so interesting, those last 2 second serve returns, that the deuce side, he was sitting on the forehand, taking the forehand side away, which was a great play. Novak served there. But that last one, you and I both, Mark, I mean, he went a long way to get around and find a backhand there. It's not often that you see players moving to their right that far to find a backhand. See if he positions himself here again. Look at where he is. He's completely outside the singles sideline on a second serve return here.
And 2 meters further back than he has been for the tournament.
Yep, took a step back there.
I mean, I think that's smart. I mean, I think Carlos was, the other night, was just so set in his ways, staying up there on the baseline.
Sasha getting a backhand there, but man, he left that short. Just not a lot of pace on the ball.
And a smart serve from Novak. We talk about pace, but I mean, 135 with the guy standing that far back is on the way down as it arrives at them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a missed opportunity. And against great players, they can come back to haunt you pretty quickly. 2-1 Djokovic.
Leads by 2 games to 1.
But I think more than anything, he has just shown the 10-time champion here that he is just feeling the nerves of the moment. Not necessarily because of the round that he's in, but more because of who he's facing today.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything, right? You're the guy out there that's searching for your first Grand Slam title, and you've got to get through Novak Djokovic, and that is not easy. But those last couple of returns were incredibly short in the court, not a lot on the ball. Let Novak take the first real strike there. And as you said, Mark, that was definitely a lost opportunity, that game.
As quick as you can, please, ladies and gentlemen. Time.
Well, that was a positive look at the corner. It wasn't quite so positive at the end of the game. After 3 games, which have now taken 24 minutes, it is Djokovic who leads 2-1, who is trying to do something that no one else has done before, become the oldest player in the Open era to reach a men's singles final here at the Australian Open. And he got a helping hand from the 27-year-old. Decade in age between them, and 10 titles at this tournament between them, and it showed.
And Mark and Brad, this is when you've changed rackets. Of course, he's a couple of months in. When you're really squeezed or under an enormous amount of pressure, this is where you really find out whether you love the racket or not. And there's a bit of gesturing back and forth between Zverev and his team in that last change of ends. So this is where you've got to get the doubts out of your mind. You've got to stay committed. You've got to go with it. You've really got to trust.
Great use of the slice. We've seen how versatile Novak is against different opponents out there on the court. Remember here against Manarino when he sliced the Frenchman into submission last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a tactical genius. At that point, I just feel like he's reducing his risk. He's got a sense probably that Sasha is a little bit tight, a little bit nervous out there. So cut the risk out. He actually blocked the forehand return into play there instead of taking a full swing at it. Just make him play.
Yeah, and again, another indication, dropped his pace on his second serve there by about 15 Ks to his normal. Actually has the quickest serve on the second by some considerable margin, but the worst numbers in terms of second serve points won of all the 4 semi-finalists today. Breakpoint opportunities here for Djokovic. Definitely some interesting tactics to be watched here so far. Novak going to that lifted forehand. He wasn't really pressed on defense there that much.
didn't really need to hit that ball. Just kind of floated it back into the court. Said, "Here, Sasha, let's see what you're going to do with this."
30-14.
Yes, Zverev needs a few more of those. Well, the Misha on the left is Dad on the right.
Let's for service.
Got there. That was a real gut check.
Not easy standing under those balls as long as they're in the air to hit an overhead.
Juice.
I mean, he's looking directly into the sun as well, and that would not have been easy to do. So great trust and timing from Sasha there. That was brutally tough.
Heart rate probably on the first one was roughly about 120, the second one about 140, then the last one was up at about 180.
Absolutely.
Advantage. Zverev.
Coming up clutch. Just keep an eye on this as the match goes on for those at home. How often does Novak use this slice? As you can see in the tournament, just 15% of the time off that backhand side. He's been slicing already close to 25% of the time. It's a big, big moment for the German after the previous returning game. And a couple of shots that missed by mere millimeters, saving Zverev in the process.
It's a couple of huge games there for both guys that they both kind of snuck out and got away with. Novak, as soon as he lost that last point, looking at the box, going to a little bit of Novak drama, which we get used to. One of the things I've enjoyed through the tournament is watching Andy Murray's reaction as Novak's done that. It's very quiet, doesn't give him anything, doesn't give him any kind of reaction or fuel.
He's so agitated. You didn't catch it on camera, but he was yelling towards the box. He didn't get his drink bottle quick enough, and it's like he almost feeds off that. We know that, don't we? Novak, he wants to almost pick a fight with someone in the crowd or with his team to just really energize himself out here.
Both guys have, there's just a lot going on right now in between the points. Sasha, they're very frustrated. Sasha's body language in general has looked a little bit low, his energy level a little bit low for this semifinal of a Grand Slam. Common tactic there, we know, from Novak. Little drop shot, almost always up the line.
Why is it always nearly up the line?
He's more comfortable going that way. I think also geometrically he keeps the ball in front of him and gives him an opportunity to react to the next ball a little bit better. He's a master at it, that's for sure. He disguises it extremely well. He was the drop shot master before Carlos came along.
Cain, Djokovic.
Forehand not where it needs to be for Zverev at the moment. Djokovic happy to be in front, 3-2. Any argument that you drop shot that way, that people's forehands are not as versatile on the little pickup than their backhands on top of that?
Good point, Petch. Yeah, I think that's probably true. You know, what my good friend Tom Gullickson calls the bottom edge skills, you know, the bottom edge of the racket leading. And a lot of players, especially with the extreme grips on the forehand side, not as great with the bottom edge skills on that kind of a ball. Everybody should learn the shovel forehand.
Well, you've got it down to perfection, that shot.
That's basically all I ever hit. Me and Pam Shriver. Never saw a forehand we didn't want to slice. You know, I thought it was interesting there as the guys were both walking to the benches. It almost looked like they were in a fifth set instead of a first set here.
Hopefully no Feathergate on Pride Day here at the Australian Open.
Same glitter you're wearing here in the booth, Dutch.
That's behind the scenes stuff there. It's been a lovely build up to the first of the men's semi-finals today. Zverev contesting his 9th Grand Slam semi-final, just a couple of times as he pushed through to the championship match.
Ready for play. Lafferty.
Made a good point in press conference after his win in that quarter-final, did Zverev, that he felt as though last year was the first year back that he was actually contesting at the majors, obviously after the ankle injury, the significant ankle injury he suffered against Rafa at the French Open back in 2022. He said 2023 was really my comeback year and I never felt that I was really in contention to win a Grand Slam. And last year was, again, a bit of a close but no cigar season for him in that regard. A couple of sets up in the semis here last year to Medvedev, couldn't get across the line. 2 sets to 1 up in the final of Roland Garros against Alcaraz, couldn't get it done. Couple sets up against Fritz at Wimbledon. Again, losing that one before losing to the American in 4 in the quarters at the US Open.
And at some point it starts to become a question of how much of is it psychological. It's in his head, as you know, it's if you narrow that down to playing matches, for example, you know, and you choke a few matches. Hate to use that word, but you know, you don't get through a few matches that are super tight, and all of a sudden it becomes a bit of a pattern. It starts to weigh on your mind when you get into these kind of situations, and maybe pressing a little bit too much, wanting it too badly can definitely hinder your ability to play at the level and execute the way you want to. And you just have to wonder if Sasha has gotten to a point where, you know, it's in the back of his mind that he hasn't won one of these, as Josh said, and I totally agree. I mean, he deserves to. He's more than a good enough player to to end his career not with a Grand Slam or 2 or 3. And I think there's the potential that if he does get through and finally wins one, that the floodgates open a little bit, you know, and he's a multiple Grand Slam winner. But it's these moments that you've got to step up and embrace, and be able to allow yourself to find the level of relaxation that you need to play your best tennis.
Continue.
Josh, from down there, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like Novak's just leaning on the ball a little bit more, accelerating through the ball. Sasha seems to be just kind of smoothing everything back.
Yeah, still, I mean, at 6 games in, I still feel like we're in that feeling out phase of a match, which normally lasts 1 or 2 games maximum. But there's a lot of tension out here between both players for different reasons. I mean, Sasha, as you're alluding to, guys, he's yet to get the monkey off the back, yet to really break through and win a slam. He's had the potential. He's gone close. Novak, I'm not too sure about this leg. It's really heavily strapped. It's a thick bandaging. So, and I've seen him just sort of lope to the bench after each game. So I'm not so sure how that's feeling as well. So we'll find out a fair bit in the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Sasha wants to stand there like that and also have his dad kind of shadow swing the forehand, because all that is just signposting where to go for Novak.
I've done that on this court before. Serve to the tee.
That's better. That's what he's searching for. Yesterday in the doubles, it was great. They were showing the hand signals from behind the back on the telly.
I love that. Nice forehand there from Sasha. But yeah, as I said before, you know, for where we're at, semifinals of a Grand Slam, you know, I don't love Sasha's as the underdog in this match. I don't love his demeanor and body language so far. I'd like to see a little bit more speed in his pacing, walking around the court, a little bit more dancing with the feet. Couple of good passes right there.
The delta imperfection between the forehand and the backhand is one of the most extremes out of the players in the top 5.
Absolutely. I mean, the backhand is just so fantastic. And as I said before, I think the forehand is improved. But it still gets into his head. It's one of those things where he might miss a few backhands, but it doesn't affect him. You miss 1 or 2 forehands, and it's in his head right away.
And there's the genius of the man.
Advantage, Djokovic.
Layer after layer after layer in terms of how he can hurt you. Another tough hold from that end, but one that he comes through unscathed. 4-3.
Please tell them not to take it out when it's time, but when I stand up,
once again orchestrating things that he needs to get in the right place as we get towards the business end of this opening set. A couple of Olympic gold medalists out on the court, of course, completing the set last year. Novak, Zverev winning in Tokyo. Out the grounds, it's thinned out a bit, of course, second week, but it is a full house on the Rod Laver Arena as the opening men's semi-final gets underway, and the second one will be up later tonight. What a performance this man put in against Alex de Minaur. Jannik Sinner just gently building towards his semi-final against the exciting American Ben Shelton. This opening set still full of promise for both players.
Thank you. Hitting love.
That was a cheeky little forehand from Novak there as he came to that, kind of held the ball and then just poked it up the line. Watch how he almost went a bit of a continental grip right here, and then last second just flicked that up the line with his hand.
Touching.
Just the little things that Novak takes care of. Sasha, one of those players that takes a long time between first and second serves. You can see Djokovic out of his crouch position after a missed first serve, very relaxed for much longer than he normally is before getting back into position to wait for Sasha to go through his routine.
Let's service.
Would love to see Sasha, I was saying before, and you know, it's maybe he feels that this is how he produces his best tennis, but just seems a bit flat-footed coming to the line before serving. There's just not a lot of energy right now.
30 all.
Brad, I think he's passive.
Yes.
So passive.
Yeah.
To win these big tournaments, we've seen players, you have to get out and just really go for it in these big moments, and that's what he hasn't really been able to do in the biggest moments of his career. So you can't just keep doing what you've done and expect a different result. So I'm just sort of surprised he's not taking it on a little more.
Couldn't agree more, Josh.
40-13.
That being said, he's come up with a couple of big serves here in the last 2 points. Nice to have that weapon to get you past some of those nerves.
And
this is a game right here going into that, trying to break 4-all first set, a set that Mark and I were just talking up here. We were both off mic for a second, talking about how we feel this set is really, really significant for Sasha. It's obviously important for Novak, but really important for Sasha. Try and build a little bit of confidence. And going into this return game right here, I would love to see him
as quick as you can, please.
Bring in the dancing feet a little bit before the return. Just a little bit more head up, shoulders back. Look like you're ready here to, there we go, just like that. It's the first time we've seen that. Send a little message down to Novak. Fired up for this game. Let's get after it.
Love 15.
Sasha actually thought that was going to go long. He stopped moving after he hit the slice.
15 touching.
I think both guys did a little bit.
He's got to be careful, Zverev, with that cross-court return off that slower second serve into Novak's forehand. Because that is just going straight into the pattern that Novak's looking for, to be able to redirect with his forehand with pace down the line.
Yeah, it just has to be a little deeper, a little heavier. Can't let him step in on that. There's a lot going on right now between both guys. That second serve from Novak right there, 133, very short in the box. Sasha unwilling to take much risk on that. Novak's shown that he's not going to do much with the second serve.
He's annoyed with his backhand, but it's his forehand return that's lost him the point.
Yes, 100%.
Test of endurance, and this time Zverev wins out.
Both guys unwilling to take a lot of risk in that rally. Every ball in that rally until the last one. Very, very big targets, to say the least. Not a lot of depth. Novak went after that one a little bit more.
Thank you. Please. Thank you.
Halt.
Sasha playing the most simplistic tactical points there that you can possibly imagine. He's just unwilling to change direction on the ball. Every single ball, cross court or semi cross court, really, not even fully cross court. Again, that's a little bit of nerves, I think. Unwilling to take much risk in the points.
Thank you.
Novak there making him pay for that unwillingness with the forehand that he finally found inside out.
Halt.
Novak drawing him forward there, just sat on the cross-court ball after he hit that little short slice here. Watch his movement, or lack thereof. Just waiting in the cross-court backhand corner. It's like he knew where Sasha was going to go before Sasha knew where he was going to go.
A lot of hard work for both these two players at the moment, as you can see. Long, extended rallies, and there's a certain logic for Zverev to do that, given the leg injury that Djokovic is potentially carrying. And that single shot is a significant difference between these two. The forehand down the line. Saw it the other night against Alcaraz after the opening set. Found an extra 7 kilometers an hour consistently on this particular shot against Alcaraz. Kept him locked up in the backhand corner. Didn't have to move as much. And a shot that carried him to the title here in 2023 when he was struggling with his hamstring.
Cain, Djokovic.
Scramble to safety for Novak in the 9th game of the opening set.
Like 5 games before.
Joshi was saying at the start of the tournament, it's all about Sasha stepping up in these big moments. Is he going to have the confidence to do so with the new racket and everything else? At the moment, the jury's out.
Yeah, that's right. As I think we all probably feel, the whole stadium feels that probably not just Sasha, but even Novak, he just hasn't settled in. He doesn't look totally comfortable for me. Sasha, it's more mental, and of course he's uncomfortable.
There's been a lot spoken about how he hasn't won a slam, but he just hasn't sort of come out here with that sort of enthusiasm and just trying to prove to Novak, prove to the world that he can do it. So he's gone for a couple of rackets in his change of bag right here. So this is going to be a big moment. He's serving with the wind behind him, which is typically harder for him. He likes to serve into the wind. So we're going to find out a fair bit about how he's feeling and where he's at in this next service game.
Jannik knowing everything that's going on around the grounds as he congratulates John Peers on his title, of course, in the mixed doubles here at the Australian Open. Olivia Gadecki was his partner as he picks up his second Grand Slam mixed doubles title after winning the US Open back in 2022. Sinner searching for his second Australian Open crown at this year's Australian Open. Defending champion will be taking on Ben Shelton later. That was a much quicker second serve than he's been delivering. Maybe just looking at Novak's position there, but 185 skipping through. It's been down at 171 so far.
And that was the first time that we've really seen Novak step up and try and take a second serve early. So little point counterpoint there. As cautious as Sasha's looked on the ground strokes, he still has this massive weapon that's kept him in the set. Serving doesn't go away too often.
Let's first service.
Sasha changing direction, finally a couple balls in that rally, being the dictator more. You would think that he would want to do a little bit more of that, looking at the strap on Novak's leg. Test that out a little bit. Novak's been able to kind of camp out in the cross-court corners.
Zverev.
First love hold of this opening set. Which is quite remarkable when you consider that Zverev is knocking in 78% of his first serves.
Yeah, it's like you said back at the start, high percentage of first serves in, but biggest percentage of returns made against his first serve. The score is going to create more drama now. Everybody's going to get into it here. Sasha couldn't really ask for more looks at second serves.
Yeah, Novak generally up above 60% for first serves in this tournament at 64, but he is hovering around 50% right now.
Vote.
I mean, apart from being the wrong shot, because Novak was already kind of covering the drop shot because it was low and short, it just wasn't a particularly good one, and that's a second poor drop shot from Zverev in this opening set.
Yeah, it's tough when you're already feeling a little bit of tension, which we felt that he is, to try and make a play where you have to be soft with your hands and have feel.
What a great steal. Loves to hook that forehand in general, but he went against kind of what he likes to do, thinking that Novak would be covering it. Nostradamus Djokovic was there.
I like the intent in Sasha's game there, though. We've finally seen him change direction on the balls a little bit. That forehand up the line got him the advantage in the point, gave him a chance to come forward and attack.
Vote.
Novak rolls through that 11th game to lead 6-5 in this first set.
Djokovic leads by 6 games to 5.
It'd be interesting to know if he hasn't practiced the last couple of days because of the leg problem, whether he almost was using this opening set as a bit of practice to try and get his kind of rhythm back here, Novak, and that's why he's been a little sort of fluctuating, but also not necessarily stressing that much at this particular moment. Although he's not looking particularly happy there, but
you sort of get that feeling. It looks a little, I wouldn't say rusty's not the right word, but it's difficult, isn't it, to come back up after such a match that he played against Alcaraz. We don't know how the leg is, but I'm sure that there's a little bit of a flat feeling, and I thought he may have been over it by now, but still not quite there where he's just really swinging out. He's locked in, he's animated, he's engaged. We haven't quite seen that yet. So still maybe not quite feeling it just yet, Novak.
Just across the road is the MCG, and whenever you get to 100 over there, the bat goes up and you raise it to the crowd, and that's exactly what Novak is doing just a few hundred yards away at the Rod Laver Arena. He is looking to record his 100th match win here in Australia. 25 shots start of the match. Zverev was coming out on top on most of those exchanges. It's now 8 apiece in rallies that have gone past 9 shots. Zverev at his best. And Novak was just sort of testing him there, wasn't he? In the opening part of that rally through the middle of the court. How much confidence and conviction do you have to go for it? That was a pretty solid response from the German this time.
That's one of the most offensive, aggressive strikes that we've seen throughout this set.
Love.
Novak with a little wry smile and a chuckle to the box that time, or from the box. Don't see that quite as often.
Well, I wouldn't read too much into that, the fact that Novak didn't chase that one.
6 games all. Tiebreak.
Starting to focus all of his intensity on this opening set breaker.
Take your seats quickly, please, especially behind the players. Djokovic.
I think he got a bit lucky, he mishit that forehand, it ended up dying in front of Djokovic.
They had to actually like reach for that a little bit. It was a tough ball to try and create anything from. Pretty good backhand volley technique there from Sasha. Firm, racket head up. You wonder why he doesn't come forward more. He has that kind of ability and technique.
Nervous moments for everyone associated with the Zverev camp. His dad, his girlfriend you just saw, Sophia. Some really meaningful moments right now down there on the court surface on Rod Laver Arena.
Thank you.
That was a pretty special backhand there from Novak.
2-all.
Stretched a little bit wide there, given a little bit of angle to work with, and created a lot of angle coming back the other way. Amazing how Sasha's setting up on the return. I mean,
Djokovic.
He almost knows where that serve is coming, and it's still hard for him to execute that on the forehand side. He was almost daring Novak to serve down the tee on that one.
Thank you.
So interesting, isn't it, to watch these two players. Novak obviously has every facet of the game. He can fade forehand returns line on the ad side. He can. Sasha just doesn't have that. You can talk about the sort of frailties on the shot, but you know, he actually can't really go down the line with that forehand return. So when Novak goes there, you can kind of give him the line.
Yeah, it's from the start of this set, really. Novak's a guy who loves his statistics. He loves breaking down every little bit of what's going to go on in a match, and so does Andy. And it's like Novak's known where Sasha's going to go on virtually every ball, even the approach shots. He's sitting there. He's been right almost every time.
Fault.
Wow. Zverev.
Bold. That's a fine line.
For all.
What a response.
Novak changing up his pattern there a little bit. First serve percentage still isn't great, but that was a huge one. What a play from Novak Djokovic. The wide serve, slide him out wide, but he went to his right again there to find the backhand here. But then the dropper off the first ball. The execution on that lob is insane. Such a difficult ball to make at this juncture of the set.
Please.
A trilogy of shots that are really testament to his talent. But a big first serve can certainly neutralize those talents, as can a second, as we saw previous time he stepped up to the line on this side.
Measuring the risk reward that time. Sasha doing the damage with that forehand up the line.
Zverev.
Being willing to change, being willing to be the aggressor in the point rather than just rallying everything cross court pays off for him there.
Thank you. Players are ready.
Hour and 20 minutes to get to set point. I think this is it. This is it. It's over. Can you believe it?
No, I can't, Mark. Wow.
Zverev through to his first ever Australian Open final in the most dramatic fashion.
Due to injury, Mr. Djokovic can no longer continue playing. Game, set match, Zverev.
And it is a stunned Rod Laver Arena.
Just stunned me. If he had made that volley, was he stopping?
Definitely not on the next point or the point after. Murray with a swift exit. Djokovic is just shocking.
Shocked, disappointed, just from the standpoint of wanting to see more tennis from the master of this court.
And we will get more details clearly from Novak on the extent of the injury that he sustained against Alcaraz and why, unfortunately, he has had to withdraw from that semi-final after just one set of tennis. The 10-time champion out in the same stage as he was last year against Jannik Sinner. Very different circumstances. Zverev wouldn't have wanted to win that way. However, it does mean that he is going to have an awful lot of energy in the tank for the final come Sunday.
Shocking turn of events, Mark.
Jim Courier will be with Sasha.
Sasha, look, congratulations. You earned your way into the semifinals. This is not the way this match was supposed to end. I just want to get your thoughts on Novak before we start talking a little bit about you.
No, the very first thing I want to say is, please, guys, don't boo a player when he goes out with injury. He is. I know that everybody paid for tickets and everybody wants to see hopefully a great 5-set match and everything, but you got to understand, Novak Djokovic is somebody that has given this sport for the past 20 years absolutely everything of his life. And he has won this turn with an abdominal tear. He has won this turn with a hamstring tear. If he cannot continue a tennis match, it really means that he cannot continue a tennis match. So please be respectful and really show some love for Novak as well.
That's well said. Was there, before the match or within the match, did you have an idea that he was struggling to the point that he might not finish it?
No, I actually thought it was quite a high-level first set. No, but I mean, like, of course, you know, there's some difficulties, and the longer you continue playing, then maybe the worse it gets. In the tiebreak, he was maybe not moving as well as in the entire first set. But I thought we had extremely long rallies, extremely difficult, physical also rallies. In the tiebreak, I did see him struggle maybe a bit more. But still, look. Of course, I'm happy on one side to be in the final of Australian Open. I'm in the final of a Grand Slam, but on the other hand, I'm being 100% honest. There's no guy on the tour that I respect more than Novak. He's been one of my closest friends on tour. Whenever I struggled, I could always text him, I could always call him, I could always ask him for advice. I was speaking to him for hours last year in Shanghai when I was really struggling mentally a little bit after the US Open defeat in the quarterfinals. And he's always somebody that helped a lot. And, you know, I wanted it to be a tough 5-set match as well. But, you know, it is how it is. He's won this tournament 10 times. And, again, I have nothing but respect for him.
So let's turn our attention to you. So when you approach a match like this, when you know you might have an opponent who might have a problem, what's your mindset coming out here? Does it change the way that you approach the match, or do you come out, I'm going to play my way no matter what?
Well, not against Novak, to be honest. I played him here in 2021 when he had an abdominal tear, and he served 28 aces against me. So I was like, well, I have to play 100%. You know, I played probably one of my best sets of the tournament. Now, the first set, and I won 7-5 in a tiebreak while he was injured. So,
but you won.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm not that good. Maybe Novak is too good for the sport. I don't know what to say.
You're number 2 in the world. They don't give that to you. You have earned it, and it's been really fascinating and fun. So many players have brought in outside coaches, super coaches, and you've tried a few, but the last few years it's been all about family with your dad, your brother Misha, and we've watched the changes that you've made to your game, especially your serve has become something that I didn't think was possible. You make over 70% first serves in play, you average over 200K. I'm telling you, it happens every day. I'm not going to jinx you, I promised. I want to understand the change, how you made the changes, because we noticed your ball toss in the last couple of years has gotten much lower. It doesn't go up as high. How did that change come about? Because it's absolutely working amazingly well.
So we're talking about technique now? Or?
Technique, change, technical change, yes.
Well, technique, the number one thing that I changed, it was actually with my brother more than anyone else, because my brother was never a massive server, so he's never a very big server, but he was extremely well with his spots, and he was extremely good in changing it up with a slice, with a topspin and all of that. And actually what was happening is I was tossing my ball so high up that I was waiting in that position for so long that I was losing momentum, so I couldn't accelerate anymore after the ball was already dropping. So the number one thing that we changed over the past, I think, 4 or 5 years is lowering the toss, so it's a fluid motion. So I actually hit the tennis ball at the highest spot that I can and not waiting for it to go down, and then I kind of have to wait for the ball. And my serve speed on the second serve especially, it went up quite a bit over the last few years. And if I'm going to serve under 70% in the final, I'm going to blame you for that.
It won't happen, I can tell you. It won't, you already had your bad service day. You served 69% in your last match. Yeah. Terrible.
That was horrible.
It was awful, right?
That was terrible. That was a terrible serving day. I only served 4 aces as well, so I didn't like that.
All right, let's spin it forward. You've already mentioned you're in a final here for the first time in Australia, for the 3rd time in your career in a major, so that's awesome. And it's going to be either against Ben Shelton, the American, or Jannik Sinner, the Italian. So let's just preview that match and tell me what you're expecting in their matchups. I know, Sasha, you've played both of them. What do you think is going to happen in that one?
What's going to happen? Ben is going to serve 240 kilometers an hour, and Jannik is going to return that serve like it's coming at you with your butterflies. So that's probably going to happen. But no, I mean, they're both great players. Everybody who is in the semifinal of Grand Slam absolutely deserves to be there. There's no easy draws. So yeah, I have tremendous respect for both of those guys, and I think it's going to be an entertaining match. Hopefully, some of you guys have tickets for the night because it's going to be fun.
And as it is your 3rd final, what have you taken from your experiences in the first 2 that can help you in this one on Sunday?
Yeah, it would be nice to win one more set than the first 2 that I've played. But yeah, I mean, look, Grand Slam finals are always difficult. The 2 best players in the world are playing on that court. You know, I lost twice in a 5th set, once in a 5th set tiebreaker at the US Open. So I've had my tough losses. I feel like maybe it's time for me to have some luck in a Grand Slam final as well.
We're going to look forward to seeing there on Sunday night. Ladies and gentlemen, your number 2 seed, Sasha Zverev.
Really classy words there from Sasha, and it's always interesting, isn't it, to kind of hear what's gone on in the backstories of these players' lives. As he said in Shanghai, he was really struggling after losing to Taylor at the US Open, and how much Novak has helped him, and that has been a fairly common thread, it has to be said, over the years from people like Sasha and other players out there. The Novak has definitely been there to help them and guide them. Of course, this has been the first retirement in a semi-final here in Australia since Hyun Chung, with the blisters against Federer, was comfortably down. Didn't actually get to finish the 2nd set. The Korean, who has been plagued by injuries subsequent to that. And Novak's first retirement at a slam since 2019 against Wawrinka, with a shoulder problem that he had at the US Open. And it isn't the way that Sasha would have wanted to get through, but it does leave him, as we say, with plenty of time to rest, recover, and focus on his 3rd ever major final. He's made 1 at the US Open, he's made 1 at Roland Garros, he has now made 1 in Melbourne. And the German is through. Who will he face? Jannik Sinner against Ben Shelton later tonight. What's your pick on that one, Brad?
I mean, as Sasha said, you know, obviously it's hard to make a pick, but it's so much of it's on Ben Shelton's racket, the way he plays his game. It's like sometimes you feel he's almost playing alone. You know, if he serves phenomenally well, he's going to hold serve pretty consistently. He's always struggled a bit with the returning. Those 2 factors are the biggest things going into that match, and we'll see. I mean, obviously Jannik is the #1 player in the world and has the experience on his side, and the way he played the other night against Alex de Minaur, I certainly wouldn't bet against him.
It may be easier for Sasha to play against either Ben or Jannik in that final. I mean, the amount of respect he was giving to Novak there, that can't be easy to step out onto court with.
Yeah, I mean, again, as you said, what Sasha said at the start of that interview with Jim Courier was right on the money, and it shows his level of respect for Novak. But maybe that was a factor in coming out and having to play him in a semifinal like this. You know, Sasha said he thought the level was really good in that first set. I mean, I don't think it was great actually for the first 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, that was the only bad part of the interview, right?
Yeah,
the rest of it was excellent.
Yeah, he was. I mean, they were both kind of struggling a bit at the beginning. I thought a lot of unforced errors. Both of them under a bit of duress from their serves, and kind of got through games a little bit with some freebies from the other guys. But yeah, we'll see now that he's into the final and he gets a chance to. He's certainly going to be fresh. He's not, you know, he said he would have liked to have played an epic 5-setter here. Yeah, you'd like that, but you don't want that tomorrow or going into Sunday. So he's going to be pretty happy, I think, once he gets back to the locker room and says, wow, you know, 1 set and let's go practice and get ready for Sunday.
Yeah, I would think there is a 99.9% chance, knowing Zverev in the past, that he will be out on the practice court. It is a shame to see the 10-time champion, the greatest of his generation, a man that has given so much to Melbourne and around the globe, having to pull out after dropping the opening set. But that is the reality. Zverev through to his first ever Australian Open final.
The number 2 seeds at the Australian Open from the United Kingdom, Andy Lepthorne, and from the Netherlands, Sam Schroeder. Israel, Guy Sasson and